Hello everyone, welcome guys. I am Nachiket Wadekar, and as we were seeing ionic equilibrium, in that we have covered what are types of equilibrium, how we are having. There are three types of equilibrium. First we have seen physical equilibrium, chemical equilibrium, and today we are seeing ionic equilibrium. In ionic equilibrium we have seen what are acids, what are bases, their degree of dissociation, how the dissociation is dependent on its stability of conjugate base, that we have seen, and the factors affecting the stability of that conjugate base. Today we are going to see types of electrolytes, that there are or types of bases, that there are two types of bases, actually three types, where there are acids. We all know there are strong electrolytes, weak electrolytes. Similarly, there are strong acids, strong base, weak acid, weak base. These two differentiations are there between acids and bases. These differentiations are done based on its degree of dissociation. More the degree of dissociation, more will be its acidic nature. Less degree of dissociation, it will be less acidic, means which is known as weak acids. More degree of dissociation, more acidic in nature. In this way, there are four bifurcations generally. First one is weak acid. Acids are having two types, strong acid and weak acid. And in base there are two types, strong base and weak base. Now we are knowing acids, like strong acid is HCl and weak acid is acetic acid, CH3COOH. And we all know that strong base is NaOH and weak base is H2S. Sorry, H2S is acid. Weak base is FeOH thrice. FeOH thrice is an example of weak base, while H2S and HF are examples of weak acids. H2S and HF are examples of weak acid. In this way, these are all what monoprotic acids. Monoprotic acids means what? Which are having only one hydrogen which can be donated. For example, HCl, which is having only one hydrogen, which will act as H+. Hence it is known as monoprotic acid. If we will see HF, here also we are having one hydrogen, hence again it will be known as monoprotic acid. Now if you will see for H2SO4, here SO4 donates 2H+ ions, means 2H+ and SO4 2-, hence it is known as what? Diprotic acid. Similarly, if you will see for H3PO4, it will give us 3H+ plus PO4 3-. This is known as what? Triprotic acid, where there are 3 hydrogen atoms which are donated, and polyprotic acids are there which are more than 4 or more than 4 hydrogen atoms present in them. Hence it is known as what? Polyprotic acids. Here also monobasic, dibasic and tribases are there. Trihydroxide ions are given, means if you will see OH, here we will have 3 OH- ions, hence it will be known as tribasic acid. Okay, in this way it will be known as what? Tribasic acid again. These are monobasic, dibasic and tribasic. And polybasic also are there based on the number of H+ ions or OH- ions given. Base will give OH- and acids will give H+. In this way we have seen types of acids and types of bases. Now we will see dissociation constant for weak acid and weak base. If this part is also seen in 11, where we are having a reaction, under that reaction we will write down where HA means we can write down this for acid, which is weakly dissociating, H+ and A-, then its dissociation can be written as product of concentration of H+ and A- ions divided by concentration of HA. So this is what dissociation constant for weak acid, and similarly we can have dissociation constant for weak base. Like if we are having BOH, I will write BOH for base, BOH can be dissociated as B plus and OH minus ions, where we are having OH minus. So dissociation constant for base can be written as product of concentrations of ions divided by concentration of reactant. So in this way we can write down the dissociation constant for acids and bases, because these are known as what? Weak acids and weak base. And as they are weak acids and weak base, we have represented them in the reversible reaction. Now next we are going to see Ostwald's dilution law. And Ostwald's dilution law is very important because it is given for the reactions or the reactions which are weakly dissociating, and based on the degree of dissociation, value of dissociation constant can be calculated, and value of alpha can also be calculated with the help of Ostwald's dilution law. And in Ostwald's dilution law we are having a simple derivation where, let us imagine this is the reaction where we are having acid. As we can write down for acid, in the same way we can write down for bases also. Initially, if I am saying that the initial concentration or the initial quantity of acid is represented by A, means at time t equal to 0, this will have maximum concentration. As we all know that in 11 we have written x1 plus x2 is equal to 1, where 1 shows the whole concentration of the solution, where x1 is mole fraction of solute and x1 is mole fraction of solvent and x2 is mole fraction of solute. And when we add them, these mole fractions give us a whole unit. So that whole unit is represented over here as 1. And when I am having this as maximum concentration, means when I am having HCl in concentrated bottle, that will be represented as 1, and at that time ions will be 0. This is assumed, but ideally this condition is never possible, that there are no ions present in our solution. If you will take water also, in water also, if I'll ask you whether water is good conductor of electricity or not, you all will say that water is good conductor of electricity, but that is wrong. Water is bad conductor of electricity, as with the temperature there are formation of H plus and OH minus ions. There are few impurities present in that water. Those impurities and H plus and OH minus ions result into the conductivity of water, result into the current conductance through water. But if you are having 100% pure only and only H2O molecules, in that condition water is bad conductor of electricity. So if you are having pure water, 100% pure water, it should be bad conductor of electricity. And if it is showing you conductance, that means there are ions present in it. And we all know there is 80%, 80 ppm means what? There are, in million water molecules, there are 80 parts from that million which are ionic inside, because there are salt ions present in water like calcium, magnesium. These ions are present in dissolved state in water, which is resulting into the hardness of water. If we are saying 150 ppm, that means that is the concentration of dissolved ions in our water. So it will show high conductance than 80 ppm, or vice versa. It is depending upon the resistance also of the solution. As we will be seeing electrochemistry, under that electrochemistry part we will be familiar with all those things. But before going for that, we should understand the dissociation of those ions. So initially, if I am having HA in spoon or whatever acid in its standard state, H plus and A minus ions will be 0. Now when I will add that HA in water, it will dissociate into H plus and A minus ions depending upon its degree of dissociation. Means if only 40 ions will be dissociated, that will be depending upon the degree of dissociation. That's why I'll be writing here alpha. So as these alpha ions are formed, alpha ions will be lost from HA also. So at equilibrium, time t is equal to equilibrium. At equilibrium, you will see that Based on the degree of dissociation, ions of H plus and A minus are formed, and similarly, simultaneously, those much ions are lost. Means if I am having 100 HA molecules, if the degree of dissociation is 90%, that means 90 H plus and 90 A minus ions will be formed, and remaining will be what? Only 10 ions will remain. So initially, if HA is 100, H plus and A minus will be 0. At equilibrium, if degree of dissociation is 90, that means what? 100 minus 90 is there and 10 is remaining. That's why I have written 1 minus alpha over here. So in this way, I have written the ions which can be formed based on degree of dissociation. But what if we want to represent it in the form of concentration? We want to find out the relation for degree of dissociation. In degree of dissociation, we write down the terms in the form of concentration. So, if we want to write down these terms in the form of concentration, we need to convert these terms in concentration. So, to convert them in concentration, I will directly divide them by V. So, alpha by V and alpha by V, where V, C can be also written as, concentration can be written as 1 by V, where we can say that N by V, N is mole and V is dm cube. If value of N is 1, we will get this term over here. So, unit of concentration is what? Mole per dm cube. Unit of concentration is what? Mole per dm cube. So, I have divided this 1 minus alpha by V so that I can convert this in the form of concentration. So, this term is converted into concentration. I will substitute these values, substitute these concentrations over here, and we will get Ka is equal to alpha by V for H plus, alpha by V for A minus, and 1 minus alpha by V for HA. These are the concentration terms. The values of those concentrations I have substituted. Now VV, one of the V will get cancelled and value of Ka will be what? Alpha square V by 1 minus alpha. So in simplified form, Ka can be written as, dissociation constant for acid can be written as alpha square upon 1 minus alpha into V. This is the simplified form. Now as we are knowing that 1 by V can be written as C also, as I have already explained you. So 1 by V can be written as C. So Ka is equal to alpha square C by 1 minus alpha. Now if for weak electrolyte degree of dissociation is very, very less. So if we can rearrange this, or we can neglect that alpha, means if I am having degree of dissociation to be as 0.99, if this is the degree of dissociation 0.09, that means what? There won't be any change. Alpha is very, very small, so it can be neglected. So based on that, 1 minus alpha can be approximately equated to 1. Why? Because the degree of dissociation is very, very less. Now when we use this condition, Ka can be written as alpha square C. Now if I want to find out the value of alpha, what I can do is alpha square is equal to Ka by C. Alpha square is equal to Ka by C. So in this way we can find out the value for alpha square of alpha is equal to square root of Ka by C. In this way we will get the value for alpha based on degree of dissociation. As I have explained this term for acids, in the same way I can write the equation for base also. So I will write that equation for base and then we will move ahead. So for that, for bases, what I can write is BOH. The reaction can be written as BOH reversibly dissociating into B plus and OH minus ions. Even you can try it by yourself. You can pause the video over here and try to solve the further part. I am going to write down on the board, but please try to solve it by yourself also. Okay, so in this way we can write the same equation for bases also. Let us say initially at time t equal to 0, this is 1, B plus and O minus OH minus ions having concentration 0. At t equal to equilibrium, time at equilibrium, 1 minus alpha, and these two alpha values are there. Again, this is what for weak electrolyte. For weak electrolyte, alpha is what? Degree of dissociation. Now we want to convert these values in concentration terms, so we will divide this whole part by V. These are in moles. This is what 1 mole. So we will have mole per dm cube as unit over here. In this way, we will have this unit of concentration. Now, if we want to find out the value of alpha, for that Kb is equal to concentration of B plus upon into OH minus divided by BOH, substituting the individual values. Kb is equal to alpha by V into alpha by V divided by 1 minus alpha by V. V will get cancelled and we will get Kb is equal to alpha square by V upon 1 minus alpha. So we will get Kb over here as Kb is equal to alpha square upon 1 minus alpha into V. We know that C can be written as 1 by V, where N is 1 is mole and V is dm cube. So based on this unit, we can write down Kb is equal to alpha square C upon 1 minus alpha. Now as we are looking for weak acids, degree of dissociation 1 minus alpha is very less, so which can be approximately equated to 1. So Kb will be equal to alpha square C, and here we will have, instead of Ka, we will write down here Kb, and here also we will have Kb. So in this way the same formula is given and the same derivation is given for acids and bases. I hope you might have understood what we have covered today. This was for Ostwald's dilution law, and there are few examples. In next video we will go with the examples and then we will see the next part. But before going for that, we will see what are amphoteric compounds. Like if we are having water, it acts as both acid also and base also. Water is a molecule which is acting as a universal solvent. There are many research papers or many types of research done on water, and water is always an exceptional condition. We all know that ice is less in density, again amorphous nature. Now in this it is amphoteric in nature, means it acts as both acid and base also. Next, there are, we can say, ample amount of examples are there where water behaves in its abnormal way. So first we will be seeing what is amphoteric nature of water. Means what? When I will add HCl in water, oxygen, as we all know, Lewis acids are those which accept H plus, and base are those which donate, these are not the definition of acid. Lewis acids are those which donate electron, wait, I will clear the part. Accept acids are those which accept electron, and base are those which donate electron. This is correct. Acids are those which accept electron, and base are those which donate electron. Now in this, what is happening is H plus is given, that H plus is accepted by water, hence here water is acting as base and HCl is acting as acid. Okay, what is happening? H plus is given to water and we get H3O plus ion, and we are having Cl minus ion which is present over here. What is happening is water is accepting H plus, hence it is acting as base over here. And if I will make water to react with ammonia, NH3 plus HOH means water. In this, water is acting as acid and NH3 is acting as base, where we get NH4 plus and OH minus ions. Now in this way you can see that water is acting as both acid and base. That's why water is said to be in amphoteric nature. I hope you have understood the topics which I have explained today in my video. If you have liked it, please share and comment with your friends. Thank you.